Welcome back to the Owner Seat Podcast, the show for operators, franchisees, and founders who don't just want growth, they want control, clarity, and optionality. Today's episode is about something most owners don't talk about until it's too late: exits and your exit strategy. No, not the I'm worth millions because I feel it exits. It's not the fantasy multiples. It's the real ones, the real exits with real families, real risk, and real identity tied to the business. My guests today are Anna and Bobby Hines. Together, they've scaled and operated across multiple fitness and wellness brands, including Anytime Fitness, Basecamp Fitness, and Waxing the City over nearly 2 decades. Bobby recently sold his final Anytime Fitness location after almost 20 years with the brand, and Anna has built a multi-brand franchise portfolio while navigating leadership, growth, and family alongside him. Bobby is now advising business owners through acquisitions and exits as a business advisor at Transworld, bringing an operator's lens to M&A, mergers and acquisitions, not just that Excel-only view. This episode is for owners and founders, franchisors and franchisees that want to understand what it really feels like to sell, what most franchisees get wrong about exit timing, and how to build businesses and franchise systems that give you choices, not financial regret. Anna, Bobby, so excited. Welcome to the Owner Seat Podcast.
Thank you. We're super excited to be here and chat with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us on. And I love these intros. It always makes me feel like I'm legit.
You are legit. You both are legit. You're killing it. And I can't wait to jump in. And Bobby, I'd love to start with you if you don't mind. When you think back about your first Anytime Fitness location, what didn't you understand yet about ownership? What was new and what did you have to learn the hard way?
I didn't know anything. Everything was new. And I learned everything the hard way.
Simple. It's as simple as that. It was like the school of hard knocks, just jumping in. Now, where did this come from? Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Like, what made you take on this investment risk?
No, I think that's why everything was learned the hard way. I didn't come from a background of entrepreneurship. My family, same there. It was just an itch that I always had. Always wanted to own my own business. I just didn't know how to get there. And this is, I'm 43. Growing up, there was no online mentors and, tips and hacks and shortcuts to get there. So I always assumed you worked a 20 to 40 year career, then you retired, pulled retirement out, then you start a business. And then one day I read this book that everyone's familiar with, probably that's listening to your podcast, called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh yeah, and Kiyosaki. I love it.
Yeah, I was probably 21 years old, 22 when I read it, and it just clicked. Like it all made sense. And so one of the things he talks about in the book is about owning the system, and a way to do that is through franchising. So I guess my mind was made up that my first business would be a franchise business, because a lot of it is already created for you and you can just go out and execute. So yeah, I didn't know anything about business, but just quickly learned it was something that I wanted to be successful at, and just put in the time to learn everything. And, luckily now we do have access to online mentors and the tips and things like that. So I think just always learning and then continuing to read books. It's something I still do today. Everything you need to know is written down in a book somewhere.
For sure. I love that. It's a great way when you invest in yourself. And for those of you that haven't read Robert Kiyosaki's book, he has a lot of them, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad is kind of the foundational one. I just handed it over to my 8-year-old as we were walking through the grid, right? Your E for employee, your S, and then getting into that B and I. I'm like, Jameson, I circled that bad boy on the chalkboard. I'm like, that is the one. And he obviously didn't understand what the heck I was talking about. Yeah. So I love that you jumped in there, and I can only imagine the chaos from going from single unit to multi-unit, and we'll get there. I'd love to chat about that too. But Anna, how has it been for you? What surprised you most about operating across different brands?
It was the realization that it's not a one size fits all. You may have the skill set and you think you can sometimes plug and play, but it's really, really important as an operator to understand, but also have passion for the brands that you stand behind.
Yeah.
I think once you find that, you'll find the secret sauce, because the people are going to be there, the leaders are going to be there, your core values are going to be there. It's just a matter of really understanding, what is this brand offering and how do I feel about giving that to the world? And I think that's what works for me in that environment, is really taking the time to create that passion.
And I promise I won't do the newlywed like trick questions or anything like that. Like the games, I used to watch those game shows all the time growing up. But typically as business partners, typically they aren't married, and you both are married. You come home, you have your family. I mean, how is that as you're growing this portfolio across the different brands, single unit to multi-unit? You both are partnered up. How did that impact the marriage, the family? I mean, that's a raw thing. There's a lot of people listening to this that are thinking about doing it or are in it and understand it brings a lot of pros and favorable things, but it can also bring some challenges. What did you all find through your journey?
Do you mind if I start with this one? Okay,
So that's how I work.
Smart, so smart, so smart.
so we don't come home. We are always at home. We both work from home. So
Okay.
we are together 24/7. The kids roll in. We take off our business hat, put on our parent hat, put on the chef hat, put on the janitor hat, you name it. Like we are together a lot. And I think what really works for us is we do not bring business into our personal life. So when it's
Okay.
date night, we're not talking about business and we're not
Yeah.
talking about kids or the house. We just go out and have a good time together. So I think that's been the key as far as relationship goes, is just not blending the two. We have set scheduled meetings throughout the week for business. That's when we discuss business. It just doesn't, there's never a bleed over. Then the other piece to it is we both are really well aware of our own personal skill sets and each other's. So he's the finance guy. I'm not going to all of a sudden sit down and say, let me talk to you about the P&Ls. I know he's going to handle that and he's going to explain it to me and we're going to be on the same page.
Yeah.
I know that he's not going to say, hey, I have this genius marketing idea. Let me do an all staff meeting and talk to the team. So we are very much aware of what we're good at and we allow each other to flourish in those arenas.
Love that. So good. Bobby,
Yeah,
what
I
about
mean,
you?
similar answer. I think understanding our strengths and staying in our lanes has been, a really good thing for us. So we're aligned on our goals and where we want to go, which I think is super important. But when it comes to the work stuff, it's just like she said, staying in our lanes. And there's going to be some crossover, but probably like an 80-20 rule. I might lean in. Maybe I do have a marketing idea, but at the end of the day, I know that's her call to make, and I'm not going to challenge it. But I might throw out an idea, then she can run with it and execute however she sees is best.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like you all have a great foundation and prioritize the family, even over the business, although all of it makes up the identity of each one of you individually, but also a collective, a team. Going into something like this, as many understand listening, this is a risk, right? You not only going from single unit, but then expanding not only that existing portfolio, but then into multiple different brands. It's not always easy and it doesn't always go smooth. How did you both partner up? How'd you get through some of the seasons that were tough, maybe even during the pandemic or whenever there's been some type of an economic contraction, whether that's domestic throughout the country or even local to where you all are at? And then walk me through how you got to this point of, let's start to sell this portfolio, start to sell or get to the exit strategy that we had mapped out maybe 5-10 years ago. Can you walk us through how you went through all of that?
Yeah. So I had Anytime Fitness before we met, and so I'd already exited once or twice with those before. And so when we started Waxing the City together, or even Basecamp, we started day one with an exit strategy. So we already know about how many units we need to scale to and an approximate time that we need to do that. And so kind of reverse engineer the strategy from there. So if we want 20, 30 units in a 5 to 7 year period, then we know we have to acquire X amount per year. And really we're targeting a number at the end of the day. So what number do we want to get to? And so I think it was helpful to start from day one with that, and that kind of be our guiding light for how we make decisions. I'm trying to think, did I miss something there?
I think mentioning the seasonality, like really understanding like, hey, I signed up to marry an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Same for him. There's going to be good times and there's going to be bad times. And that's just part of the game. So I think during the hard times, you really have to stay focused and say, hey, we're just going through one of the ebbs and flows, and you can't blame the other person. You can't come down on each other for, hey, why is this happening? It's just part of it. So I think we're very well aware that we're going to go through these phases. So we're prepared for it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think to add to that, one of the benefits of being married to your business partner is I know her so well. So even if there's something she's not communicating, same with me, I can kind of read it in her face and in body language. So I think it's having those check-ins, like where are you at right now? What if it's on a number scale, on a 1 to 10, how are you feeling? And just kind of checking in, and maybe it's a week or a month where I'm down and I just need some support, and she's there to provide that. So I think that's helpful to So, there's so many things going on in our dynamic. I mean, we have 5 kids. We have
Wow.
4, 5, 6 businesses open now with more in development. So there's just a lot going on. So we need to check in throughout the day, the week, the month, to see how we're doing.
Good for you all. 5 kiddos. I have 3. I don't know how y'all are doing. I'm starting to grow all these. And for those that are watching, you can see the gray hairs. They're coming in. They're driving me nuts. But that's
Yeah.
so amazing. What a big family. What a blessing. Amazing. And you all look great, by the way, for having 5 kids. I mean, you're killing it with 6 businesses of your entire portfolio. So keep up the great work. Anna, you made me think about something. You were talking about your skill set of marketing, and I think of Anytime, Basecamp, Wax in the City. I mean, they're complete different brands, and you could even argue maybe even a different demo, right? Based on pricing and all of that. How do you switch gears on what to deliver as you're telling that brand story? I mean, you're clicking on a couple different levels. That can be very difficult to do.
Yeah. So I think what's always worked for me is I don't sell to sell something. It's about education and really my
Ooh.
passion. People always say, God, you get so excited when you talk about these things that I want whatever you're selling. So it's really that. And I take a lot of time to train my teams that way. That, hey, if you're going to be here, let's really find your inner passion. Why are you here? What's your purpose? Aside from your own goals, but like, what do you enjoy? Well, a trainer will tell you, I love seeing clients with results. Esthetician will say, I love the instant gratification of making someone feel beautiful instantly. So I really do help them identify that. But then that's how we use that technique to just be out in the community and talk to the community and educate them and be passionate and be creative, right? Because you'll see an ad for a competitor and you're all of a sudden I'll get an idea. I feel like I'm pretty creative
Yeah.
and it'll be something fun and like that'll speak to people. And I think it's really a combination of all those things that help me really figure out how I'm going to market in each different brand and what's going to work for that brand.
Yeah.
And she's
It's
really
so
good
cool.
about giving the team autonomy within a framework. So, she has coaching calls with the leaders, and that's good because it takes a lot of the creativeness and brain power out
Yeah.
of just coming 100% from her. They're going to know their studios, their gyms better than we do sometimes, or their local markets, because
Yeah.
we're in 3 different states. At one
Yeah.
point, we were in 4 or 5 different states. And so they're going to know those markets way better than we do. So if they know kind of our end goal and how we want things executed, they might come to the table with marketing ideas. So we're not always thinking about how to market each individual brand. Sometimes that information is coming from the bottom up, and then we can just be the filter and say, all right, yes, let's go with that play or not.
I love that. Team members love to be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Mm.
So long as we give them guardrails and they truly understand. And I'd imagine you all cast and recruit for those that are tied to your mission and values. And so when they get that and they're attached to that, they can come up with these ideas that you're like, my goodness, it's better than what I could have thought of. And they have their ears to the ground, right? To your point, being local there, it's the ground truth. So I love that. And Bobby, I just had Michael Yanuzzi from Citron Cooperman actually just went live today at the time of this recording. And I'm obviously in the finance space. I'm a huge fan of talking about the Q of E and unit economics and things like that on the strategic finance side. And so as I learned more about you and your background, and as you were just talking about finance, I'm like, I can't wait to chat about this stuff. I just see that there continues to be a need, not just in fitness and wellness, and I know many in the audience come from that space, but across the franchise space where there is still this need for financial literacy. When we talk about valuation and exit strategy, I still find that it's very subjective. I feel like we're worth 10 mil. Got it. How'd you get there? And it's really just a feeling, maybe even a quick glance at the P&L, but you talk about the balance sheet, it's rare. And then definitely the cash flow statement or cash flow forecast, that's ultra rare. Where did you pick all this up from? Is that your educational background? And I know you're using it a lot now too, not only in your existing business, but some other things that you're doing as you're helping others find success and build wealth for their families. But what do you think it is? Is it a financial literacy piece? Are people just too focused on the passion side of the business? How do we get more of these owners? I want more owners to survive. I want more owners to have success stories like the Hines. How do we replicate what you all do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I wasn't professionally trained in finance. I failed math many times throughout high school and college, but I think I just sort of, maybe out of necessity, had to learn it. I used to think that, what we saw on a P&L should match the bank account, and I couldn't understand why our looking at our internal systems, our daily production and what we were selling, and like, why isn't the bank account moving? And I didn't understand, how to read a P&L and L and what it all meant. And especially when it came to finance and we wanted to grow, and the bank would say, you need a DSCR of
Mm,
whatever, 1.5, or, all these ratios. And I had no clue what it meant. And so, like I said earlier, everything you needed to know is written in a book somewhere. So I just started to read books on finance.
yeah.
I took a course at Harvard online. It's financial leadership, just to continue to grow in that world. And I just, since I love the numbers part of the business and growing, I just invested more of my time into that so I could eventually move into that role full time. I think
Mm,
your question about how do we get more owners to think that way, I think I don't know how to communicate this to them, but what I see happening, especially in fitness, is you have a lot of I don't know if you've read E-Myth, but there's technicians,
yeah.
managers, entrepreneur. In fitness, I see a lot of technicians that become the entrepreneurs, but they're still acting in that technical role.
Mm,
And so they haven't made that mindset shift to like, all right, I am now the owner, and this is my set of responsibilities, which includes understanding finance. There's still
yeah.
a personal trainer that now owns the gym. And I think those are the ones that fall into trouble. Even when it comes to valuation, what I see is that uh, you were saying, I think it's worth this or that. A lot of times if they're valuing based on their blood, sweat, and tears, no savvy buyer or investor is going to value your blood, sweat, and tears. Unfortunately, they're just
Yeah.
not. They're going to look at profit and then some multiple of that because they're looking to get a return on their investment. Or
That's true.
you see them value based on what they invested. So if I spent 200,000 in tenant improvement and another 100,000 in equipment, and my business, I need to get at least 300,000 for it. And that's just not going to happen. So there's a big misunderstanding about how businesses are even valued.
Yeah.
I don't know how to communicate that to where they start day one with that. But I think it's easier now than ever to learn it. There's so
Well,
many online.
you both are great examples, right? Just jumping into the books and just learning. You have to, you're almost forced to. You are the business owner. And sometimes I think a lot of business owners forget that there's that hat too, is you got to move away from being in the business and actually running it. And Anna, I wanted to jump back on the marketing side. That's one thing that I'm noticing a lot more people talking about around finance and marketing, and tracking those measurables so that it's working, whether that be customer acquisition costs, right? Or pay per clicks or what have you. Is that something you enjoy doing? And is that something you press a lot with your team and those that are running your studios and all of that?
Very transparent with my team. And I let them know, like, hey, this is what it takes to run this place. Let's pay all the bills, and then everything else is fun time for all of us, right?
I love it.
So we do once a month all staff meetings at all of our locations
Excellent.
via Zoom, and we talk about these hard things. So I'll explain to them, hey, working with the marketing agency, this is how much it costs to acquire one client. Now, if you don't, I'll bring them in the door, but if you don't retain them, we're going to be upside down. So I have
Yeah.
very transparent conversations like that, and they love learning that stuff. Like my leaders, they'll be like, I've never had a job before where I even understood what it took to get a client in the door.
Mm,
So when I feed them that level of knowledge and make them understand the numbers, they thrive even more and they want to meet those goals. We talk daily via Slack between all of the locations. Every morning we post all the goals. Every day it's all interactive. So if somebody sells a new membership, I'll say, tell me real time. I want to celebrate you in that moment. So they know that they're closer to that end goal. And we talk very much like that every single day.
so good. Well, I know we're jumping into the end of our time here. I have to have you back. I'm going to let everyone know you will be seeing Anna and Bobby again. I had a short little window here at the time of this recording, but this is amazing. I probably have like another 25 questions to ask you both, as I would love to get deeper into the finance piece, Bobby, Anna, just across the different portfolios and what your thoughts are around selling and some of the mistakes people make, maybe even when they do sell, from a branding perspective. And so in the meantime, how can people learn more about you both and your business and everything that you've built together?
Yeah, you can. LinkedIn. I'll have to send you my LinkedIn. I think it's just Bobby Hines, but I'll send it. I don't
Cool.
know if
We'll
you
put it in
can
the show notes. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then Instagram Bobby Hines.
I'll send mine too, my LinkedIn, my Insta. I'll send some of our waxing the city handles in case anyone wants to
Excellent.
learn about a good wax.
Yeah, no, for sure. My wife's gonna be excited about all this. I shouldn't say
Perfect.
that, but yeah, we'll get her to watch this. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. Like I said, let's have you back on. And for everyone listening, this has been another episode of the Owner Seat Podcast. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. And as I mentioned, always, all episodes drop now Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Central. We can't wait to see you next time. Anna, Bobby, we'll see you soon for sure. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.